Welcome to Violin Adventures number 274. This week, the dreadful cello becomes a delight. Hope you enjoy. Okay, I've got an idea for this cello. Well, we're going to see how far it gets and if it works out or not. Maybe as we progress, if you got an idea what I'm doing, put it in the comments below. Well, I got the foil on, the pieces, and next we have to tack it together, and then we can solder it. Okay, I was cleaning this up, shining it up, and this is the back side, and it is just as beautiful as the front side. Okay, here's the final result of our cello that started out so bad, and it's ending beautifully because inside we have lights. And the part where the rodent chewed through on the front of the cello is just wide enough now, because he chewed through there, to get the plugs through that hole and to plug it in. So I'm going to plug it in and let you see it all lit up. There it is. That's actually the back side of the stained glass. And I'll turn it around and see if there's much difference. Right there is turned around. That's the other side of the stained glass cello. And we took some time off and we visited the Arboretum in Lexington and also Waveland. Here are some pictures. I took the video and Ian took pictures on his special camera. Now, Waveland at one point was owned by the daughter of Daniel Boone, and it has a very interesting history. And my favorite part was that one room in the house, which was called the office, had 7 doors. And that led to different parts of the house and also to the front and the back. It also, one of the doors also led to a little stairway that went up for travelers to stop by and stay for the night. And so that stairway only went to 2 rooms, which were in the middle of the house and yet cut off from the house so that it only had one entrance. And that was in that room of 7 doors. Anyway, very interesting. Hope you enjoy. This is Waveland. This is the front of Waveland. This picture is from the Arboretum. It's a memorial to a plane that had gone down. This is the front of Waveland. And this is a cabin on the property. Okay, we have a repair here where the seams are opening up. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to warm up the hide glue, and when it's ready, we will close these seams. There's just an opening here and here. Time for a story. Okay, it's time for a story. We're taking up where we left off on Paganini by Fatus, and we're on page 57. Nothing could be more honorable or more natural than the indignation felt by Paganini at the calumnies which his success engendered. But it would seem that he was deceived as to the means of silencing them. For the publication of the chronological order of his life would easily have demonstrated the absurdity of the reports propagated against him. It is a fact that until he was nearly 15 years of age, he remained under the paternal roof. Hence, he proceeded to Lucca, where he unfortunately formed an acquaintance with some disreputable persons who, taking advantage of his inexperience, robbed him of the fruits of his industry, and drove him to Pisa, where he gave concerts to repair the inroads his losses had made and improve his pecuniary position. He was at this latter place in 1801 and was then only 17 years of age. This date is authentically established by Gervasoni, who was his contemporary. Some months after, his predilection for the violin changed, and he took up the guitar, acquired a mastery over the instrument nearly equal to the violin, and wrote for it several distinguished compositions, which are still sought for in Italy. In 1804, we find him at Genoa giving instructions to the young Caterina, who became a most worthy pupil. The following year, he enters the service at the court of Lucca, remains in that town until 1808, then undertakes a professional tour, arrives at Leghorn, and plays at several concerts. In 1809, Paganini meets him at Turin. In the same year, he returns to Florence, where Bartolini executes his bust. In 1810, he travels through Romagna and performs particularly at Rimini, an inhabitant of which furnished an account to Mr. Conestable. It is afterwards that his adventure at Ferrara occurs, and the 16th of August of the following year he gives concerts at Parma, as confirmed by Mr. Gervasoni. Returning to Florence, he remains there during 1812, where, at the beginning of 1813, the affair takes place which drives him from court. In the same year, he gives 13 concerts at Milan. In 1814, he's at Genoa, his native place. He then returns to Milan, gives 11 concerts there, and proceeds to Bologna, where he meets Rossini. In 1815, he makes his second professional tour in Romagna, and then proceeds to Bologna, where he meets Rossini. In 1815, he makes his second professional tour and plays at Ancona, returning again to his native place. In March 1816, he goes to hear Lafont at Milan, receives the challenge, gives concerts, and proceeds to Venice in the summer of the same year. He remains there nearly a year, according to the report of a correspondent, from which period until his death the public journals teem with accounts of his brilliant successes. It is manifest and beyond contradiction that, during an existence constantly before the public, no period can be found where he could have suffered a detention of 8 years, or even the time necessary for undergoing a criminal procedure. Paganini, with the design of confounding his vilifiers, should have collected the testimonies of those he had known previously and during all this period, and have published the chronological table which has been thus sketched. The whole matter would then have been set at rest. Human credulity is prone to feed on outrageous absurdities. Not only was his dignity as a man attacked, for endeavors were ever made to deprive him of this, and to grant him only a fantastic existence. The almost insuperable difficulties he had overcome as a violinist were not the only motives which gave birth to the reports circulated. The extraordinary expression of his face, his livid paleness, his dark and penetrating eye, together with the sardonic smile which occasionally played upon his lips, appeared to the vulgar and to certain diseased minds unmistakable evidences of satanic origin. It has been seen by his letter, which has been given in extenso, what he himself related on that subject. But these ridiculous ideas were not entertained in Germany only, for there are traces of them even in Italy, and they probably had some effect upon the difficulties which attended his obsequies. Mr. Amati, a distinguished writer, has furnished Mr. Schottky with an anecdote which has reference to his acquaintance with Paganini at Florence. Okay, next time we'll read the anecdote. It is a long anecdote, quite interesting, but it's a few pages long, and so we'll save that for next time. The Hebrew Minute. Asherei kol yireh Hashem chaholek bidrakaiv. Blessed is everyone who fears the Lord, or Hashem, who walks in his ways. If you know where this is found, please leave it in the comments below. Here it is, Friday afternoon, a beautiful day. It is just lovely out here. And we have a mother robin who is yelling because right up here we can see they have built a nest right there. So they've built a nest there and they don't want me or anyone else to mess with it. So I'm going to go inside, keep her happy, and have a look at the shop. Here's an update on the organ. The keys are all finished, and now he's on to the soundboard. Okay.
So the next step in restoring this reed organ is to have a look at the soundboard here, underneath which are all the reeds. The reeds fit into little slots in here, and because the hinges had perished, I had to take off the mute, which fits there. And although it's a nuisance to have to do that, at least you know that you're going to get a good result and not have to go back in and correct things because you'd failed to do them.
Well, here's our cello. It's been outside and the varnish is much drier now, so I'm hoping to get it rubbed down next week. Over here is our delightful cello. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your wonderful comments, for your thumbs up, and for the new subscribers. And until next time, bye.